the street in New York City, and I had my hair up. I believe it was up, and this little girl.
She had the voice of an angel. Millions adored her music, yet very few knew the struggles that nearly silenced her forever. Crystal Gayle looked like she had it all: fame, beauty, and success. But the truth about her tragic ending will leave you shocked. Join us as we unravel the secrets that would eventually unravel into heartbreak. Uncovering the hidden truth. Crystal Gayle, a well-known American country music artist, is best known for her hit song from 1977, "Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue." She used to share management and a record label with her older sister, Loretta Lynn. After some time of not seeing success with that setup, Gayle decided to try a different approach. She signed a new record deal and began collaborating with Nashville producer Alan Reynolds on her music. Gayle's fresh sound, which was part of a trend among many country artists in the 1970s to reach a broader audience, was often labeled as middle-of-the-road, MOR, or country pop. In a candid interview, Crystal Gayle addressed the speculation regarding a supposed feud with her renowned sister, Loretta Lynn. During the conversation, Gayle touched on the rumors of their rivalry that surfaced as she rose to fame in the 1970s. While magazines were quick to claim that the two were vying for attention, Gayle insists that this was far from the truth. Gayle shared that they were sisters. "We could argue, but they really didn't have any issues. Rather, she admired her sister." Gayle further shared that they both have their imperfections in different ways, but they were not going to disclose what they were. Loretta Lynn, who passed away at 90, and her younger sister Crystal Gayle maintained a bond that endured through the years. Both Loretta Lynn and Crystal Gayle were among the top stars in country music. However, behind the scenes, they were just like any other siblings. Gayle mentioned that she has always relied on Lynn for straightforward advice. She recalled that her sister got her the first recording contract she had, and she gave her the best tip. While she was signed to the Decca label, Gayle's career faced challenges. The label wanted her to record similarly to her sister, which led to the situation. Her early singles were criticized as Little Loretta records by AllMusic's Steve Huey. According to authors Mary A. Buffwack and Robert K. Orman, Gayle probably stigmatized herself due to her connection to Loretta Lynn. In a 2019 interview with Forbes, Gayle reflected on this experience, stating that it didn't take her long to realize she was only there because she was Loretta's sister. Around this time, Lynn advised Gayle to expand her musical horizons.
"There's only one Loretta Lynn, and my sister told me, don't sing any of my songs because they're only going to compare." And then that's when I started.
Lynn ordered her to stop singing her songs. There was only one Loretta Lynn. They didn't need another one. After that meeting, Gayle chose to leave Decca in 1974. The truth may have shocked fans, but Crystal's personal life holds the answers to who she really was. Let's take a look into the relationships, struggles, and triumphs that shaped her personal life. Crystal's world beyond fame. Crystal Gayle was born as Brenda Gayle Webb in Paintsville, Kentucky in January 1951. She was the youngest of 8 children to Clara Marie and Melvin Theodore Ted Webb. Unlike her sister Loretta and her other siblings, Gayle was the only one born at the Paintsville Hospital instead of at home. Through her mother's side, Gayle is a distant relative of singer Patty Loveless. Gayle and her siblings have Irish and Cherokee ancestry, although she is not registered with any Native American tribe. Her father worked as a coal miner and suffered from black lung disease. To find better medical care, the family relocated to Wabash, Indiana, when Gayle was just 4 years old. They settled in a community for retired miners, and Clara Webb took a job as a nurse's aide. Ted Webb passed away from a stroke in 1959. Gayle showed an interest in singing from a young age, claiming she could sing before she could even walk. Their new home in Wabash was more suburban compared to Butcher Hollow, giving her a taste of both rural and city life. She often sang along to the songs on the radio and was influenced by the music of her sister Loretta Lynn. Gayle's love for music grew even more during her teenage years. She began singing at church, performed folk songs, and made demo tapes. With Lynn's support, she started touring in the summers while in high school. At 16, Gayle took the stage at the Grand Ole Opry to fill in for her sister who was sick. She sang a cover of Gordon Lightfoot's Ribbon of Darkness. After finishing high school in 1970, she signed her first recording deal with her sister's label, Decca Records. When she joined Decca, the label required her to change her first name from Brenda to something else because Brenda Lee was already with Decca at that time. Not long after, Lynn saw a sign for the Crystal fast food restaurant and told Gayle, "That's your name. Crystals are bright and shiny, just like you." That's when she decided to go by Crystal Gayle professionally, using Gayle from her middle name, Gayle. Gayle and her siblings assert that they have Cherokee ancestry on both their maternal and paternal sides. In October 2001, she was honored by being inducted into the Native American Music Awards Hall of Fame due to her self-identified Cherokee heritage. Gayle has stayed close with her 7 siblings since they were kids. Before she got a recording contract, she toured with her brother J. Lee Webb in his band. Her 2019 studio album features a cover of Webb's song, You Never Were Mine. In a Rolling Stone interview, Gayle expressed that she wished she had done it a long time ago, since they spent so much time touring together. Moreover, her older sister Peggy Sue has been a vital part of Gayle's roadshow for several years, providing background vocals and performing her own solo material as well. Gayle has also maintained a close relationship with her oldest sister, Loretta Lynn.
Manager.
My husband Bill, we've been married 25 years. And, well, you know, it's all in the relationship, you know, the people that...
Gayle has been married to her husband Bill Gatsimos since 1971. They started dating in high school, and while Gayle was signed with United Artists Records, Gatsimos was studying law at Vanderbilt University. After finishing law school, Gatsimos became Gayle's manager and has been the president of their company, Gayle Enterprises, ever since. Gayle believed their marriage worked well because they both follow their own interests and allow each other to breathe. They have 2 kids, a daughter named Catherine, born in 1983, and a son named Christos, born in 1986. Gayle's son became a record producer and helped produce her album in 2019. When Gayle had her first child, she kept working a lot. In 2003, she mentioned that when she was on stage, she remembered coming off stage and breastfeeding and then doing another show. After their second child was born, Gayle decided to stay home with the kids. She also has 2 grandkids named Elijah and Bjorn. In a 2011 interview, Gayle expressed how much she loves having grandchildren, saying that holidays were so amazing with Elijah. They made cookies, which was great because she never really got much of a chance to do this with her own children. She further stated that there was a pull when she went on the road and not around him, and she wanted to be. He was just a bright spot that she wanted to see all the time. He loves life. While her personal life shaped who she was, it was her music style that defined her legacy. Beyond the woman, there was the artist, and her unique sound set her apart. Let's take a look into the unique style that became Crystal Gayle's signature. The sound that set her apart. Gayle's musical style is primarily based in country, but it also incorporates elements of pop and folk music. Unlike her siblings, who were mainly brought up in rural Kentucky, Gayle spent her early years in a city setting. This varied environment allowed her to experience a wide range of musical styles. In 2003, she stated that she had always enjoyed folk, pop, rock, gospel, country, everything. As a kid, she particularly loved the music of Leslie Gore, Brenda Lee, and Patsy Cline. During her teenage years, she grew fond of folk groups, especially Peter, Paul, and Mary.
In the States is really what pop music was in the 70s. And there's a lot of great music, though, a lot of newcomers. It's like there's a lot.
However, Gayle was also drawn to the classic country sound of her oldest sister, Loretta Lynn. It was Lynn who encouraged Gayle to carve out her own unique style. This advice inspired her to explore various musical styles. In 2007, she expressed her preference for being called a singer. She called herself a singer of songs. She loved to sing, whether it was country, folk, pop, or rock. She grew up singing all different styles, though definitely country was her roots. Gayle also emphasized that her main goal was to find high-quality material, saying she has had great producers. Alan Reynolds was one of them, and he is just fantastic. She would always find great songs that other people wrote, and she wanted to put out really good songs. Music critics and journalists have noted that Gayle has a smooth vocal delivery, which sets her apart from her sister. AllMusic's Tom Jurek highlighted her signature phrasing and sophisticated material as significant factors. Stephen L. Betts from Rolling Stone described Gayle as having a polished persona and singing style tailor-made for country pop crossover. Kurt Wolff from Country Music, The Rough Guide, remarked that she possesses a sweet, radio-friendly voice that made her an ideal pop country star. Her music style stood out, and soon the world began to notice. Behind every unforgettable style comes a story of success. Let's take a look into her rise to fame. The moment the world took notice. After signing with Decca Records, Gayle was first managed by Oliver Lynn, who is Loretta Lynn's husband. One of her earliest paid gigs was making regular appearances on Jim Ed Brown's TV show, The Country Palace. On that show, Gayle performed original songs written by Loretta Lynn, such as Mama, It's Different This Time, and Sparklin' Look of Love. In 1970, she released her first song, I've Cried, The Blue Right Out of My Eyes, which was also penned by Lynn and peaked on the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart. The next 2 singles, Everybody Oughta Cry and I Hope You're Having Better Luck Than Me, only made brief appearances on the country charts. In 1974, Gayle signed a new recording contract with United Artists Records. Her taste in music shifted thanks to producer Alan Reynolds. Reynolds, who had recently found success with Don Williams, encouraged Gayle to adopt a more relaxed style in her recordings. He also helped her promote her songs to a wider audience. That same year, Gayle released Restless, her first song with United Artists. Mary Buffwack and Robert Orman described the song as assertive. The song reached number 39 on the Billboard Country Songs chart. Gayle also put out her self-titled debut album in 1974, which climbed to number 25 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart. The next year, she achieved her first top 10 hit on the country chart with Wrong Road Again, a song by Alan Reynolds. However, her singles This Is My Year for Mexico and Beyond You from 1975 didn't do very well. Gayle worked with her husband Bill Gatzimos to write the latter song. The title track from her second studio album, Somebody Loves You, became her second top 10 hit. More people enjoyed Gayle's shift to country pop more than her earlier albums with Decca. Kurt Wolff from Country Music, The Rough Guide, praised the new sound, calling it a pleasant, easygoing sort of country folk blend and a close cousin to the music of Emmylou Harris. Colin Larkin, an encyclopedia author, noted that her new musical style carries the easygoing charm found in Don Williams's records. Orman and Buffwack described the new approach as ear-catching and also recognized Alan Reynolds' gentle rhythm productions. Reynolds had limited time to create content for Gayle. Instead, he arranged for Richard Lee and Bob McDill to help with the songwriting. With I'll Get Over You, written by Lee, Gayle achieved her first #1 hit on the Country Songs chart in 1976, proving the success of the collaboration. Following that, she had the #2 hit I'll Do It All Over Again, and her second #1 hit, You Never Miss a Real Good Thing, Till He Says Goodbye. In 1976, she released her third studio album, Crystal, which reached #7 on the Top Country Albums chart. Alan Reynolds, the producer, believed that Gayle could thrive in the crossover pop scene if she had the right song. Richard Lee penned the track Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue in 1977. Initially, the British singer Shirley Bassey was meant to be the one to perform it. However, after hearing the song, Reynolds told Lee that he was not sending the song anywhere. Gayle recorded the song in just one take. When Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue was released as a single in 1977, it soared to the top of the Billboard Country Songs chart and also made its way to the Billboard Hot 100, where it reached #2. On an international level, it gained popularity in several countries, including the UK, where it hit #5. Since its release, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue has received positive feedback from both music critics and fans, who have even called it her anthem. Stephen Thomas Earlywine from AllMusic praised Gayle's singing, stating that she never overdid it, nor were her vocals overly sweet. They were lovely and simple, making the song very captivating. We Must Believe in Magic, Gayle's fourth studio album, was released in 1977. It reached #2 on the Billboard Country Albums chart and #12 on the Billboard 200. Since its release, We Must Believe in Magic has received positive reviews. AllMusic rated the album 3.5 out of 5 stars. Paul Dennis from My Kind of Country gave it a grade A rating, calling it an eclectic mix of songs ranging from pop standards to rock and roll hits to songs by contemporary country songsmiths. The Recording Industry Association of America recognized We Must Believe in Magic as the first album by a female country artist to sell platinum records. In 1978, Lee won a Grammy for Best Country Song, while Gayle received the Grammy for Best Female Country Vocal Performance for her hit, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue. Her fifth studio album, When I Dream, came out in 1978 and also peaked at #2 on the Country Albums chart. The RIAA certified the album platinum, and it reached #52 on the Billboard 200. When I Dream received another grade A rating from My Kind of Country and 3 out of 5 stars from AllMusic. The lead single, Talking in Your Sleep, written by Roger Cook, hit #1 on the country singles chart and #18 on the Hot 100. Reynolds began to follow Gayle when she switched record labels to Columbia Records in 1979. After signing with Columbia, Gayle started recording more cover songs. Music critics applauded her for this decision and recognized her as being versatile. Her sixth studio album, Miss the Mississippi, was also released in 1979. Featuring Half the Way as her third crossover pop hit, the album included 3 major hits. Miss the Mississippi earned a gold sales certification from the RIAA and peaked at #3 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart and #36 on the Billboard 200 chart. Two additional #1 singles from Gayle's 8th studio album were If You Ever Change Your Mind and Too Many Lovers on the country music chart. Gayle's 9th studio album, Hollywood, Tennessee, reached its highest position in 1981, landing at #5 on the country albums chart and #99 on the Billboard 200. Despite its financial success, critics had mixed reviews. According to Mary A. Buffwack, Robert K. Orman, and Jason Ankeny from AllMusic, the album symbolized her uptown inspirations. Jason Ankeny rated the album 2.5 out of 5 stars. 3 notable singles from Hollywood, Tennessee made it onto the Billboard country music chart, including the mainstream hit The Woman in Me and the socially aware song Livin' in These Troubled Times. Gayle showcased her talent beyond the Nashville venue as her music covered a range of genres. She hosted the television specials The Crystal Gayle Special and Crystal. Both shows aired on CBS and were well received. Additionally, Gayle appeared in Bob Hope's special On the Road to China. For this program, Gayle and Hope performed on the Great Wall of China, making her the first artist to record there due to this special. In 1982, Gayle collaborated with Tom Waits to compose the music for Francis Ford Coppola's film One from the Heart. Bette Midler was originally chosen for the role, but she couldn't make it work with her schedule. The release of the soundtrack was initially delayed because of a conflict with Coppola's Zoetrope Studios and Columbia Records. However, once it was released, the soundtrack received positive reviews. Tom Urek from AllMusic rated the album 4.5 out of 5 stars, calling it one of the most beautifully wrought soundtrack collaborations in history. Steve Pond from Rolling Stone described it as a dreamy series of duets with Crystal Gayle that drift in and out of the film, comment on the action, and supply some crucial transitions. Gayle later made a move from Columbia to Elektra Records, and eventually, Elektra Records merged with Warner Brothers. One of her early recordings was a duet titled You and I, featuring Eddie Rabbitt. This song marked her second top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 and reached #1 on the Billboard Country Singles chart. Gayle's first studio album with Elektra, True Love, also came out in 1982. Jimmy Bowen, who was in charge of Elektra's division, remarked that the record rocked too much when he first heard it. It was originally produced by Alan Reynolds. Considering these points, Bowen decided to add 3 more tracks for the CD. The album received mixed reviews. Despite the use of tougher arrangements, Gayle's singing was praised in the initial review by Billboard magazine. Tom Rowland from AllMusic also praised Gayle's performance, particularly on the tracks Our Love is on the Fault Line and Deeper Than the Fire. Rowland also questioned Bowen's production plans. The singles from True Love, including Our Love is on the Fault Line, Baby What About You, and Till I Gain Control Again, all reached #1 on the Billboard Country chart. In 1983, Gayle released her next album, Cage the Songbird. This was the first album that Jimmy Bowen fully produced for her. Cage the Songbird peaked at #5 on the Top Country Albums chart and #17 on the Billboard 200. It featured crossover hits like The Sound of Goodbye and Turning Away. Her following studio albums also brought more hits, including the #1 singles Straight to the Heart and Cry. The latter was a song that Johnny Ray initially made famous. She also recorded the theme song for the Masquerade TV show. She did a duet called Tell Me What Can I Do with Danny Chan from Hong Kong, but it didn't get much attention because there wasn't enough money for promotion. Gary Morris and Gayle collaborated on several duets. The first one was the song Makin' Up for Lost Time. In 1986, this song hit #1 on the Billboard Country chart. The CBS television series Dallas also used Makin' Up for Lost Time as its theme music. The duo also recorded the song for Another World. The theme tune, Another World, made it into the top 10 of the charts. Gayle even guest starred on the show. In 1986, the couple released their joint studio album, What If We Fall in Love? This album reached #25 on the Billboard Country Albums chart. Gayle put out her 10th and final album in 1988. The album, Nobody's Angel, featured the single Tennessee Nights, along with 2 less significant hits. In 1987, Gayle started Crystal's Fine Gifts and Jewelry in Nashville. The shop offered a range of gifts, including jewelry and stones made by various European artisans. Different types of crystals were also sold at the store. The small boutique expanded into a much larger shop, and it requires a lot of hard work, as anyone in retail knows, Gayle mentioned in a 1994 interview. In 2008, the store officially closed down. In 1990, Gayle reconnected with producer Alan Reynolds after she signed a new recording deal with Capitol Records. That same year, she released her 16th studio album, Ain't Gonna Worry. Bill Carpenter from AllMusic rated the album 4 out of 5 stars, describing it as an excellent set of country pop. Several singles were launched from the album, starting with Just an Old Love. Billboard had a positive reaction to it in their first review, praising Reynolds' production quality. The third track from the album, Never Ending Song of Love, became her last single to make the charts, reaching number 72 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart. In the 1990s, Gayle shifted her artistic direction by putting out music in different styles. This included her album Someday, which had lively tracks, and Crystal Gayle sings the heart and soul of Hoagy Carmichael, which showcased classic songs. Throughout the entire decade, she also owned and operated Crystal's Fine Gifts and Jewelry. Her latest studio album came out in 2019, and since then, she has been busy touring internationally. At the start of the new millennium, Gayle broadened her musical horizons. In 1999, she put out an album of jazz and American standards titled Crystal Gayle Sings the Heart and Soul of Hoagy Carmichael. This album was a tribute to Hoagy Carmichael, with whom Gayle collaborated shortly before his passing in the early 1980s. The album included covers of his songs, such as Stardust and Georgia on My Mind. Tom Urich from AllMusic rated the album 4 out of 5 stars in his review of Heart and Soul, describing it as a gorgeous set that reaffirms Gayle's artistry, but also provides the first truly fresh listening experience of Carmichael in at least a decade. Billboard magazine praised the lead single, Two Sleepy People, a duet with Willie Nelson, calling it sweet and playful. In 2000, she released a studio album for children called In My Arms. Then in 2003, she came out with her second album of American standards named All My Tomorrows. Robert Daniels from Variety had positive remarks, stating that Gayle's singing had both directness and subtlety. There were no flashy or show-busy theatrics. AllMusic awarded this release 4 out of 5 stars, calling Gayle's vocals stunning and capable. In January 2007, fugitive Christopher Daniel Gay escaped from custody at an Interstate 95 welcome center near Hardeeville, South Carolina, and traveled to Tennessee, where he stole Gayle's tour bus. Gay was apprehended the next day, and the bus was returned to Gayle. In September 2019, Crystal Gayle had to cancel 3 shows in a row, including her performances at the Ryman Auditorium and Grand Ole Opry, as well as a listening party because she was feeling under the weather. Although the specific illness was not revealed, her team officially stated that she was too sick to perform at that moment. For many years, Gayle dedicated herself to recording her upcoming studio album. She mentioned that the album would feature covers of classic country songs and would be produced by her son, Chris Gatsimos. Initially, the project was named Am I That Easy to Forget? However, in 2019, Gayle revealed that it would be renamed You Don't Know Me, Classic Country.
Well, I chose the songs because they meant something to me. Starting with Ribbon of Darkness. That's the first song on the Opry that I ever sang when I was probably 17. Wow. And that was because my sister, Loretta, got sick.
The album was officially released in September of the same year through Southpaw Productions and The Orchard. You Don't Know Me marked Gayle's first studio album to make the charts since 1988, reaching number 40 on the Billboard Independent Albums chart. Critics gave the album positive feedback. AllMusic critic Stephen Thomas Erlewine rated it 3 out of 5 stars. He pointed out that her higher vocal range was a little diminished, but she still sounded amiable. Marcos Papadatos from the Digital Journal awarded it an A rating, stating that, overall, Crystal Gayle is sensational on her new album, You Don't Know Me, which is country as grits. Grab a bottle of wine and let this country queen lure you in with her timeless voice. Since the 1970s, Gayle has received many Grammy Award nominations and has won one. She has also earned 5 Academy of Country Music Awards, including the Cliffy Stone Pioneer Award in 2016. Additionally, she has been honored with 3 American Music Awards and 2 Country Music Association Awards. Rolling Stone recognized her as one of the top 100 country artists of all time, while CMT listed her among the top 40 female country singers. In 2017, Gayle became a member of the Grand Ole Opry and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Gayle is recognized as one of the most successful and significant country pop crossover artists. Gayle's music and her career have paved the way for future female country pop artists like Faith Hill, Shania Twain, and Carrie Underwood. Writer Kevin John Coyne noted her achievements and contributions. He stated that she had amassed an incredible 18 #1 hits, which is 2 more than her older sister, making her 4th among all women in the history of country music, following Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire, and Tammy Wynette. In recent years, Gayle has received numerous awards and honors for her achievements. In 2009, she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where she was accompanied by artist Tanya Tucker and her family for the event. In 2016, she was awarded the Cliffy Stone Pioneer Award by the Academy of Country Music. Gayle remarked in 2016 that it was nice to think her music has influenced other artists who are out there. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.